Hello everybody and welcome to another Sunday Night Live with me, Jonny Lipsham, here on March the 6th, 2023. Good grief. How on earth did we get to March this quickly? Crazy. Bonkers. Insane. Anyway, I hope everybody is doing well and has had a good week. My week has, well, for those of you that know and are friends with me on Facebook, you'll know the story. But essentially, I have not had a great week. I have had a flare-up of a condition called cellulitis. It's a bacterial infection, which I managed to acquire for a second time. I had this 9 years ago, and it is phenomenally painful. Let me tell you, it is phenomenally painful. It is in my left leg, which is ironically exactly where it was this time 9 years ago. It was in my left leg again. Yeah, it's not been much fun because I can't put any weight on my left leg at all. It's incredibly painful. My leg is swollen up. It's not great. And that's why I had to cancel Wednesday's show for Songwriting Simplified, simply because I was going to hospital to get it checked out. And so because of that, I couldn't do the show because I didn't know how long I was going to be waiting at the hospital for. They basically confirmed that it was cellulitis, and they gave me a bunch of antibiotic pills, which I have here, and I have to take 4 of these suckers every day. Plus, I also have pain relief as well to deal with the pain, because the pain is pretty much almost unbearable, and those really only just touch the sides, to be honest. And they kind of said that they would. They couldn't really offer me any stronger pain relief that I could take home. So that's the story. And that's why Wednesday's show got pulled for the first time in a very, very long time. And I did debate as to whether I would do a show today or not. But I'm here, and I'm here to serve you guys, because you guys are freaking awesome, and you are my fantastic audience, and I love you all very dearly. Let's just say that. So we've got about 9 people here. I think a few minutes ago we had like 12. It's dropped down to about 9. But it is what it is. We might have a smaller audience tonight, but that's okay. I don't mind. Anyway, let's get into it. Let's see who's here. And I think, if memory serves correctly, this is going to let me scroll up. There we go. Billy Morgan was the first in, and he was like exceedingly early. He was like 4 hours before anybody else. Followed by Dave Barcelo. Hello, David. Good to see you. And Paul Morgan is here as well. Mike Johnson at Music to Motion, my dear friend, is here. John Hawk is here. Carl Traduziak is also here. Kevin from Kevin's Guitar Studies is also here. Wow, I whistled my S then. I never do that. John Lake is here, who says, I hope there is a show tonight. Welcome, John. We have a show, which is very good. Wasn't quite sure whether I was going to do it, but we're here, which is great. And Dave at Bob's NY is here as well. In the words of Horton, we are here, we are here. Yes, we are. The anonymous housewife is saying hello, which is awesome. Hello to you too, my dear. I hope you're doing well. And who else do we have here? We have Radio Tuck Frumpet here as well. That's my good friend Keith. I hope you're doing well, Keith. And I'm sorry that I missed your radio show, but I think I have reasonable excuse for missing it. And we got Papa Up to Music as well, saying good evening, which is awesome. And who else do we have? And we got the W5 family here as well, which is fantastic as well. All right, so, yes, we were a little late getting started. And the reason why was because, mysteriously, I had no audio. And I didn't know why we had no audio, but we had no audio in OBS. So I had to go and check out why that was. And as it turns out, it was really simple. The output bus on OBS was muted. I must have clicked it by mistake and not realized I'd done that. So that took me a few seconds to figure out. And once, oh, it's muted. And I unmuted it and we got started. So anyway, we are here and we are ready to go. So we're going to start with a question that was emailed to me this afternoon. which I'm going to read to you guys. And it comes from my friend Richard Rupert from Green Valley Recording. I don't know if you're here, Richard, but I will direct you to this show. If you are not here, I will reply to your email and send you a link to this show so that you can check out the answer to your question. So anyway, he says his question is to do with timestamps on audio in Studio One 6. He says, I've inadvertently deleted a track in the arrange window that has punch-ins on it. I'd like to pull audio back in from the pool, but I don't know how to relocate it on the timeline in sync with the other track files. I think Studio One puts a timestamp on the audio, and that would solve the problem. But I don't know how to access it. I'd much appreciate your sending me a link to your tutorial. Now, here's the thing. If you had saved your song or auto-saved your song at the point before you deleted it, you can go back and you can open up that autosave and hey presto, everything will be restored exactly as it was. The beauty of Studio One 6 is that its main feature for audio editing is that it's non-destructive. So when you record something in Studio One, let's say you record a vocal take, you decide you don't like the vocal take, so you delete it. Guess what? It's in the pool. So if you decide later, maybe I was wrong about that. Maybe that take that I deleted is better. You can go to the pool and you can just drag and drop it back in. Now here's the thing. If you've chopped up a piece of audio to Hades and you've comped it and you've done all sorts of stuff with it, but you didn't bounce it, then when you go to the pool, you'll find all of those tiny little cuts and chunks and everything in there, in the pool. And so you can drag all of those back in, but then you'll need to try and line them all up again, which will be a little bit of a pain in the butt to do, but it's not impossible to do. You can do it. But everything that is recorded is all in there in the pool. And you can just basically go grab those and drag and drop them back in. And this is the beauty of Studio One. You can chop something up to Hades and you can end up making a bit of a pig's ear of it. And it can go horribly wrong and you do more editing than you actually really need to. And you go, you know what? I've done way more to this than I should have. I want to start again. You can. It's in the pool. You just go grab the original audio file, you drag it into the track and you start again. And it's no big deal. Not a big problem. So you can go back and you can kind of do those edits again if you want. And that actually might be the easiest way to fix things and to get everything back together as it was from your takes that you've got. So you can just go grab all of those takes, drag them back into Studio One and then rebuild your comp. And then what I'd recommend you do is you bounce that sucker. Okay? And that will turn all of those chopped up little bits into one continuous audio piece. And the good news is there that once you bounce it, you create a new version of it in the pool. So you've always got access to that bounced version of that audio event in the pool. And you can just bring it back in if you need to. So let me just quickly show you, because you talked about timestamps and things like that. So let me just quickly show you kind of where those are in the pool, just in case you're not very familiar with the pool. And I need to put my camera on. There we go. All right, so here are some audio events that I have recorded into this song. This is my vocoder song. This vocoder, it's really very cool. Which is basically, this was me testing the vocoder before we released Studio One 6. And so here are some of the audio files. Here's some of the vocal takes that I did. And you'll see here that there's a track here and it's got a couple of other takes on it as well. So if I want to go grab this take instead of another take, I can just drag and drop it. But you'll see also here, you'll see that there is a time and date stamp on this. This will tell you exactly when this event was created. So this one here was 10, 15, and 9 seconds, which is the same as that one. But this one was 10 p.m., 36 seconds, same date. And then this one was 2 minutes earlier. This is 9:58 and 50 seconds. And there's the piano event. There's the Fender Rhodes. And then you'll also see that there is this contemporary bass sound, which is the Presence XT sound, which we're using for the bass, because I couldn't be bothered plugging my bass in and actually play the bass part, which I could have done. All right, so there's a take there. There's the very first take I did, and then there's the second pass that I did. That one's at 10:15. And so that's why you see this little green thing here. Is it just so, hey, this was done with when takes to layers was on. Looks like I only made one pass rather than two, but I recorded this with takes to layers on, whereas this one was not recorded with takes to layers, which is why there's a take there. But this one doesn't have a take. Okay, so if you record with takes to layers on, when you record, every layer will appear under here. You'll see take 1, take 2, take 3, take 4, take 5, take however many takes you did. And you can just go and grab one of those takes and bring it in. Or you can hold shift down and select all of those takes, bring those onto separate tracks, and then you can comp a new vocal take out of all of those takes that you did. And then make sure you bounce it, okay? Make sure you bounce it, because when you bounce it, it creates a new event here in the pool that you can then drag and drop if you need to. All right, so I hope that helps you, Richard. 'Tis a good question. Oh yeah, the camera's hiding the timestamp. Hang on a minute. Let me just move that up a bit. All right, hopefully you can see that now. You may not, because I might need to refresh it. There we go. All right, so here's the timestamps again. I'll just go through them again. So I know that this was done at the 20th of September 2022, 10:15, 9 seconds. This one here was done on the same date, but it was done at 10 p.m. and 36 seconds. And then this one here was done 9 p.m. 9:58 and 50 seconds, all on the same date. So I know that these were all done in the same session. And I can decide which one of these that I want to go back to if I've chopped my other takes up to Hades or I've done other stuff that I don't like anymore. Okay? So I hope that helps, and I'm just going to move it. Didn't want to do that. I wanted to grab this element and move that one down. There we go. All right, so I hope that helps, and I hope you guys can see everything properly. Go back to lounge. So yeah, I hope that was helpful. I'm just going to make sure that has come out correctly. It looks like it has. Okay, cool. Marvelous. All right, so we've got a couple of other questions here, which I'm going to go and grab a look at. Can I explain? This is John Hawk. Hello, John. He says, can you explain track presets and how they can be useful? Yes, I can certainly do that. We got 15 people here. We got 16 people here, and we've got 12 likes. So let's try and balance the views to like ratio if we can, please, people. If you're brand new here and you have never seen this show before, and you're not even subscribed to my channel, you're absolutely brand new, and you want to ask a question in the chat, there are two things you're going to have to do. Number one, hit the subscribe button. Number two, wait nice and patiently for 10 minutes. And then after those 10 minutes, the chat will unlock and you can ask your question. Now, if at that point the show is over, but you still want to ask your question and you didn't get the chance to get it into the show, and actually this applies to anybody who didn't get a chance to get their question into the show, that's fine. Just go to the bottom of the screen here. Okay, JonnyLipshamStudios.co.uk, and when you do that, you go to my website, scroll down to the bottom or hit the Contact Us button at the top of the screen. That'll take you to the contact form. Fill out that contact form, ask a question there, which is what Richard did for the question at the start of the show. So if you miss a show or you don't get a question in time or something like that, or you later think about something from the show, then that's a good way to reach me, and that's a good way to get a question in for the next show. Or if you have an idea for a larger topic that you would like discussed, again, send me an email and we can do that in a show. We can dedicate a whole show to that subject. Okay? I would love to do those kind of things. So that is up to you. I would very much like to do those kind of things. Peter Brooks is asking whatever happened to Johnny Guy. Johnny is doing fine. He is taking a break from doing live streams. I don't know when he will be back to doing those, but he is still making videos every single day. He has made a video every single day for the whole month of February, and he is still going. So I think he's intending to just make a video every single day. So you'll find his videos over on his channel. But he's not doing any more live streams, and that includes this show. So this show is exclusively, this show is always exclusively mine, but Songwriting Simplified is hosted by me on this channel exclusively now. That's not to say that Jonny and I have fallen out. No, me and Jonny are good. We are in a good place together. We've known each other for 10 years. He's one of my best friends. He just wants to take a wee break, and that's fine. I'm happy for him to do that. So that's kind of where we're at. All right, so track presets. Let's get to that, because I don't want to miss the moment with that question. So track presets. Track presets are awesome, by the way, if you don't know what they are. All right, so what is a track preset? A track preset is where you can save and recall frequently used track and channel configurations, so you don't need to recreate inputs, settings, and routing every time you create a new track. So, for example, if you've got a guitar track and you've got routing to buses, you've got panning, you've got EQ, compression, amp sim, and everything else on the channel that you like, and it's the way you like your guitar to be set up every single time, you can save that as a track preset, and then it will appear in the browser. And I think it appears in the effects section of the browser at the top, in a folder called track presets. You open that folder, and all of your track presets are there, and you can just drag and drop that straight onto an empty channel, and it'll set everything up instantly, just like that. And the cool thing is, you can use this from song to song. So if you're doing an album, but you know that you want the guitar to have the same kind of sound, or you want the same background vocal settings, create a track preset for background vocals. And then you've got the same settings for those from song to song. So if you're doing a 9-10 song record, and you want the backing vocals to have exactly the same EQ, exactly the same compression, the same reverbs, the same delays, the same whatever processing you have, de-essing, saturation, whatever it might be, the same panning, the same routing to a backing vocal bus, you can save that as a track preset. And then in every song, all you do is just drag and drop that in, and everything is, hey presto, instantly set up. And it means you're just doing one drag and one drop. It's one move to create a backing vocal channel. And then you can either do that several times for the amount of backing vocal tracks you want, or you can just drag it in once and then copy it from channel to channel. Job done. And pretty much in about 5 seconds, you can create 5 background vocal track channels. Okay, so it saves track presets in the arranger, and the tracks in the arranger view, and also the channel configurations in the channels in the mixer. Okay, very, very cool. So to store a track preset, you right click on the track in the event view, the arranger view, whatever you want to call it, and then you can just choose the option store track preset from the context menu, and then it will be stored. Okay, and the same in the mixer for channel presets. Okay, and that's pretty much how it's done. And then you just drag and drop, drag and drop, drag and drop, drag and drop. It's how Studio One has always worked. So one cool thing to note is that track presets also work with folder tracks, meaning if you have an entire group of tracks, including their bus and effects channels, they can all be saved as one single track preset. So this is perfect for doing multi-channel drums. So if you've got like 9 or 10 mics for a drum set, you can set up all the folder settings that you would normally have for drums, right? And then you can save that as one single track preset, and boom, all the drum channels are instantly created for you. The one thing to note though is that track presets do not store note events. So that excludes MIDI channels and MIDI tracks, and also audio clips and event effects or automation. So track presets don't include those things. Those are stored elsewhere within the song. They're not stored in a track preset. So things like automation, event effects are not going to be included because event effects are exclusive to a particular event. They don't go on the track, which is why you'll never see them in a track preset. That wouldn't really be particularly useful. So I hope that answers that question. And if you want details or a little bit more detail, in the Studio One manual, under the editing section, there is a section there on track presets that you can take a look at. All right. So that's track presets. Track presets are really, really cool. I have one for vocals, which I can show you. I go back to my song, go back to my effects, and go back to Studio One screen. And here's the folder I was talking about, track presets. So audio, there's my vocal one right there. And that's one that I made. It's just a simple vocal track. It doesn't really have anything fancy in it. It just has an EQ and a compressor. And then you've got some ones that are pre-created here, beats and vocal, drum kit, and then electric guitar, and then guitar and vocal. So there's a few there. And then there's some hybrid ones. There's a vocoder track preset there as well. So there's a few options that are already there, and then you can just like I said, you can very easily just right click this one here, and there it is, store track preset. Or you can right click, you can load a track preset there as well. Now if I was to click load here, that would just remove the vocoder. Don't want to do that. Store track preset, that's what I want to do if I want to keep this particular vocoder setting that I've got on this track. All right, so I hope that helps. Good question. All right, we've got another question here, which I want to go find. And this is Dave's question. Dave at BopsNY. He says, how do I send MIDI timecode to Studio One? I tried to set keyboards up to send MTC, but unrecognized the program changes. Gregor has a fantastic video on setting up external hardware synthesizers. And that includes how to do preset changes from inside Studio One for that external hardware device, whatever it is. So I recommend going checking out Gregor's video, because Gregor is the MIDI guru. I'm not. I use a little bit of MIDI in what I do, but I don't have any external hardware synthesizers really to be able to demonstrate this for you. I've just got this guy. This is just a MIDI controller. It's dumb. It doesn't really do anything other than control virtual instruments. And then I've got my piano down the bottom here, which is an audio instrument. So again, that's not really sending MIDI. So yeah, so I would check out Gregor's video on external hardware synths, because he has loads of those, and he has everything set up beautifully for controlling program and patch changes direct from inside Studio One for that external keyboard, so he doesn't have to get up and go and change it. So I hope that helps. That's a good question. Large topic. The question is why? Yes, that is a huge, large topic. The question being why? And my simple answer would be why not? There. Hope that answers your question, Kyle. Why not? All right, let's go see what else we have here. Secret Squirrel is here as well, which is awesome. He came in just a few minutes ago, as did Ronald Figura, and Shorty Beard is here as well. We are bringing in the whole crowd. Ronald says MTC is different from CCs. Yes, it is. Definitely. Well worth going to check out. He has loads of information over there. And of course, Ronald would be another great option as well, because he has a whole bunch of keyboards. I don't. I only have these two guys. I'm a very, very simple man. So, Peter Brick says, why not what? Well, why not? Why not? I know I've done the thing that you should never do. When somebody asks you a question, you should not respond with another question. I know, you should respond with a statement, a declarative or something like that to answer a question. And what I've done there with Kyle is I've responded with another question. So I've basically batted it back to him. And generally speaking, you should not do that. But I did. And as Shorty correctly observes, the answer to Y is 42. The answer to everything is 42. You know, when you take your car in for its annual service and its, you know, its checkup and everything else, you know, the answer is always 42. It's not how much, it's 42. All right. Any other questions? Because we're at the halfway point. We have reached 30 minutes past the hour, and I would like to get some more questions in here. Jonny Gibe is in the house. I think we should give Jonny a fanfare, just because we should. There we go. And I think Jonny is the kind of guy that should be an F major. So there we go. That's Jonny. I think that sums up Jonny entirely. It's an F major. That's the kind of guy he is. The answer is blowing in the wind. Yes, or it is in the ever decreasing circles within your mind, or something like that. Or, as Billy says, the answer could be preset 7. So yeah, Jonny should get fanfares, and he's the kind of guy that's in F major. I'm not an F major kind of guy. I think I'm in D flat. So I think this is me. That's me, personally. D flat major. I think Jonny's an F major kind of guy. Jonny, I hope you're doing well, buddy. And a couple of people did ask where you were. So your absence has been kind of a wee bit noted from doing live streams, but we all understand and we all know why. And we appreciate all the videos that you've been putting out over the last month. You have been prolific in your output. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, go hit up Jonny's channel called Jonny Gibe. It's dead simple. When you find Jonny Gibe's channel, you will find a litany of brand new content, which you should go and check out. Now, I know he can't monetize his content at the moment. I'm not monetizing mine either, for different reasons, but I'm not monetizing mine. I stopped monetizing mine a couple of years ago now, mostly because YouTube have this requirement where content creators, wherever they are in the world, if they monetize their channel, they have to pay a certain amount of money from that monetizing that you make to the fact that they are based in the state of California. So they are, you know, I'm somehow liable to pay taxes in the state of California. And I said, no thanks. I'm a UK citizen, UK resident, and I pay taxes here in the UK. I should not have to pay taxes to the United States as well. So I was just like, nope, I'm not going to do that. Jonny says, all my songs are in D. Yeah, they are. I know your songs are in D, which I find really amusing because I just think you're an F major kind of guy. I don't know why. I just think you do. Shorty Beard says, I'm definitely D minor harmonic. But that's a scale rather than a key. But I like that. Let's see. I'm sorry to hear you. Yeah, I don't think he's in. I don't think the reason why Jonny is not doing live streams anymore has anything to do with him being in YouTube jail or anything like that, or any community strikes against his channel. But there we go. He has the answer right there. He says, monetized or not, I will make videos until I can't. Yes. That's the kind of defiance we love. Yes. We will fight until we can't fight anymore. Absolutely. And we stand resolutely 100% behind you, Jonny. Definitely. That's for sure. Jonny says, I'll have to try and write in F. Yeah, it's funny. If I'm playing a blues, F is kind of my favorite key for blues, although I will do a blues in G as well, but F, G, B flat. I like doing blues in B flat, actually. E flat sometimes, although E flat's a little trickier to play. But yeah. Anything jazz orientated tends to be in flat keys because flat keys are preferred. Reason being is because the lead instruments are instruments that are already in flat keys. So the trumpet is a B flat instrument. Tenor saxophone is also a B flat instrument. Alto sax is an E flat instrument. So because those are flat key instruments, being in a concert flat key works best for those instruments. And it's just easier to play in those keys. That said, though, there are some, really any instrument you learn, whether it's a transposing instrument or a concert pitch instrument, you should learn to be able to play in every major key and every minor key with confidence and fluidity. So not being able to play in A flat or not being able to play in B, for example, that shouldn't really be a thing. Everybody should be able to play in B. Because you just never know. You never know what kind of gig you're going to get. Somebody might, and I've actually had this happen where somebody said, hey, I've got this song, it's in B major, can you play a nice, pretty sort of ballad style piano solo in it? And I'm just like, B? I've not played in B for a long time. I actually had to do some practice. I actually had to, work out some patterns and some phrases and licks that I usually play in the key of B, and then work them so that I could play them with some confidence. And then I sat down and recorded the solo, and it actually turned out pretty well. And you would never know that I'm not really that comfortable playing in B, but I did it. Lesson being there, guitars and guitar players in general, they prefer sharp keys. They prefer playing in D, G, A, E, and B. Those are great keys for guitar because, it's all to do with the tuning of the strings in standard tuning. In standard tuning, the guitar is kind of an E minor kind of instrument. So it's kind of set up for being in its relative major key, G major. So therefore, sharp keys tend to be that little bit easier on a guitar than playing in a flat key. It's not to say it's not possible, but it is. Bobby Bear says, why do people write a song in D, but not everyone can sing it? That's a good question. You said it's a dumb question. It's not a dumb question. It's actually a really good one. And here's the interesting thing. Most people, whether they're male or female, they have a break point in their voice. Everybody has a break point in their voice. Between their lower register, their chest voice, and their head voice, which is kind of this part here, using the resonant cavities in your head and your nasal sinuses and your, these palates here. Using this part of your body to resonate and make the notes. This is called your head voice. And then the lower notes tend to be produced by the chest. So you're using your chest, this big cavity here, to make the notes, which is why chest voice sounds really rich and full of lows and low mids, and head voice doesn't. Head voice has not very much in the way of low and low mids to it. That's an EQ thing. But here's the thing. When you get to that break point where you switch between chest and head voice, most people have a very distinguishable break, i.e. it's not easy to sing over that break point. So the key of D major tends to be one of those keys that is positioned on most people's break point. So you find some people, they will alternate between singing in head voice and chest voice. So they'll sing one bit in chest voice, the other bit in head voice. And so that's why singing in the key of D can be a little bit of a challenge, especially if you have a song that has a big range to it. So, if you start down here, if you start on the third, and I very, very nearly played Birdland there. We won't do that. So if I'm starting the D major scale on F sharp, that's quite low to start a verse. And this is where most people's break point is. It's kind of between this D above middle C. So in order for a verse not to be dirgy and dark sounding, you want to not start too low. So maybe start from here. So there's a good positioning for a vocal, starting on the 5th of the chord and rising up to here, the 4 of the scale, and then back to the octave there. So basically the center of the melody is here, with the range of the melody being from there to there. So that's a good range for a melody. It's not too high, not too low. The hard part is when you start getting into a bridge heading towards your chorus. So if that was our verse, then maybe our bridge would be, you know, see, now we've gone really, really high. And then we're going to go into our chorus. See what I mean? The chorus is really, really high now, and the verse is really quite low. That's the problem you get with writing in the key of D, because of where it's positioned on the piano. So you would therefore maybe ask, the next question would be, well, maybe the argument should therefore be don't write on the piano, write on the guitar. You're going to have exactly the same problem. And the reason being is because at that point in the guitar's range, it has exactly the same problem as the piano. The voice, most people have a range of, at the most, an octave and a tone. So basically a ninth. Most people can sing comfortably. Not everybody can do that, but most kind of anthemic singing, you will shout that top chorus rather than sing it. And so if you do that too much, you end up ruining your voice, because when you shout from here. Most people, you don't shout from here. If you really want to do a good shout, or if you want to hit those high notes, you got to do it from here. You got to do it from chest. And you've got to push it up with your diaphragm so that the air is forced up through the air column over the vocal folds. The vocal folds are nice and relaxed going up to that high note. That's the best way to do it, but most people don't do that. That's why D major is hard to sing in, but it's easy to play in on guitar. And it's, as you saw, quite easy to play in on piano. So you'll find a lot of congregational worship songs for church. They're either in D or A or G because they're easy to play. The drawback, and you find this with a lot of modern worship songs for church, is the verses tend to be really, really low because they've encountered this problem. So there are two things you can do. One, you make the verse really, really low and the chorus really, really high, which really doesn't satisfy everybody, because some people are not going to be able to hit those high notes. They're not going to have fun with the chorus, and then other people are just not going to have fun with the verse because it's too low and the chorus is too high. So they're going to have a hard time singing this one song. How do you solve that problem? I think the way to solve that problem is to move the notes from the chorus and the verse, move them both towards the center ground. So instead of having a big range for your song, have a smaller range, but make everything else around the song more interesting. So if the melody is going to have a range of from here to here, from this A to this F sharp in the key of D, that's not a big range. Okay? That's an okay range. Most people can deal with that. Make everything around those 6 notes, and then make the interest be how you use the chord changes. So make the chord changes a little bit interesting. Do some things with the arrangement, and those 6 notes will sound fantastic. So it's a long kind of answer to a short question, and you said it was a dumb question. It's not a dumb question. It's actually the biggest songwriting problem to overcome, especially if you're going to write in the very common key of D major. It's so common. It's incredible how common it is, considering there's that problem for most vocalists. Now, if you've got a big range, I have a big range. I don't have a problem with it. But some people do. I can sing pretty low. I can also sing very, very high. That's not typical of most male vocalists. Most male vocalists have a very narrow range that they will sing in, which is kind of around this area of middle C and a little bit above that, maybe up to here above middle C, the E. But then most people will go down to there quite comfortably. So that's probably your 10th, I would say, that most people sing in, most male vocalists will sing in. And you get people like Sting who will sing. Sting will sing up there quite comfortably. And I can sing up there quite comfortably, but most guys can't. So there's the problem. Solving that problem has taken centuries to try and do, and nobody's really totally done it yet. We'll see. Good question. And definitely not a dumb one, Bobby. Really good question. D minor is a nice key, Peter says. Yes, it most certainly is. Dave says, I was looking for a saxophone virtual instrument in Sphere products. Could not find one. Is there one available? There are saxophones in Presence XT, and they sound okay. They're not phenomenal. They're not going to do incredible things for you, but they are okay. I would use those if you're going to do like a horn section arrangement. I wouldn't use them as a solo instrument. Just because they're quite generic. So they won't really stand out particularly much in your song if you're using it as a solo instrument. If you're using it as a horn section, like a saxophone, trumpet, trombone, kind of 3-part horn section, have at it. It will sound great. But, and I've done that, by the way. I did that on my EP. I mixed some live musicians in with a horn section from Presence. So I had real musicians plus instruments from Presence blended together, and it sounded fantastic. But if you don't have access to live musicians, then certainly Presence is a good way to go. There is no sort of saxophone specialist instrument in Persona Sphere. It doesn't exist yet. I have been asking for a Persona's horn section, much like we have the Persona Symphonic Orchestra. I've been asking for a horn section with some horn section licks and things like that for ages. Rick Nakvi has a fantastic band called Fat Hat, and they have a horn section. They sound awesome. I would love it if they did a loop pack and some samples for Persona Sphere. Rick, if you're watching, do it! I've been asking for this for years. I would love it. Get to it. Fat Hat. They are awesome, by the way. If you don't know who I'm talking about, you should check Rick's band out. They are freaking awesome. Well worth checking out. But yes, otherwise you're probably going to be looking for third-party plugins for that. Third-party instruments for that. Let's see. Okay, who heard Old Christmas Tree? You noticed. I snuck that in there. I like doing that sometimes. Let's see, what else do we have? It sounds great when someone does have the range and can do it. Yes, it does. If somebody has the range, to be able to belt up in the high octave there, it does sound great. Yep, it does. I'm not going to blow my own trumpet, although I do have a trumpet to blow if I wanted to, but I can sing up there, no problem, no sweat. All right, we have 10 minutes left of the show. Peter Brooks says, I'm writing a song about shooting down UFOs over Alaska. Cool. I'd love to hear that when you're done with it, so let me know. Comfortable D for me. I can only hit a C3. That's a breaking point for me. And then after that, you go into falsetto. Yeah, falsetto is another thing. Falsetto is actually, it's not head voice. It's above head voice. It's called falsetto. What does falsetto mean? Falsetto comes from the Latin for false. So it's similar to, but not the same thing quite, but it's similar to harmonics for the voice. And it just enables you to sing some higher notes, and they sound a lot thinner. So in a lot of ways, it's similar to harmonics. If you play harmonics on a guitar or a violin, for example, it's just like a whole bunch of notes that they don't have the fundamental tone. So that's gone. And it's just, you just use harmonic overtones to create the note. And if you're really, really clever, there is a technique whereby you can split the harmonic and you can sing two notes at the same time. If you don't believe me, Layla Hathaway recorded a song for an album with the awesome world/jazz fusion band Snarky Puppy nearly 10 years ago, called Family Dinner Volume 1, I think it is. And she recorded a song called, I think the song is entitled Something. And it's a really, really great song for which she won a Grammy for Best Vocal Performance. And Snarky Puppy won Best Band for Best Arrangement, I think, is what it won. For that particular song. And in her performance, she splits notes. She sings two notes at the same time. But here's the thing. She sings them perfectly with the harmony, with the chord changes. It's amazing how she does it. So she can completely control these two pitches. It's not just random pitches. She controls these two pitches so that she is able to follow the chord changes of the song. It's barely believable to hear her do it, but it's genuine. There's no dub, there's no overdubs, there's no extra track, and you know she's done it for real because the musicians in the band are almost so stunned, so shocked at what she's just done, they almost stop playing. It's amazing to watch their reaction to it. So go check that out. And it is called overtone singing, and it's amazing. There are some people that can do it. Mariah Carey can do it. Layla Hathaway is probably the best exponent because she does it kind of and is able to harmonize with herself by doing it. So she moves the melody note. She can also move the harmony at the same time. It's amazing. Fat Hat are amazing. They definitely are. They are a really, 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 really great band. And that was too many reallys, but it's Fat Hat. All right, we've got 6 minutes left. Anybody else got anything to contribute before we wrap up the show? So far, I'm sat here and my leg is kind of sore. It is sore. It's painful. I am in a lot of pain. You wouldn't realize it because I'm a professional. I can hide it. I am in a lot of pain. But you guys and your questions have kind of kept me going. And the adrenaline has kicked in a wee bit. So it's helped kind of me to keep my attention away from it. Let's see. Whitney, yeah, she can do it. Or at least she could. She could when she was younger, actually. Whitney Houston could do that whole overtone singing when she was younger, but as she got older, she really lost her ability to do some of those special vocal effects. But yeah, she could do it. Lots of air to do overtone. Yeah, well, I mean, if you're serious about being a vocalist, smoking is definitely something you should not be doing because it is very bad for your vocal cords. Very bad. As well as being very bad for your lungs. Ronald says, figured out how to use the vocoder today thanks to your video. Yes, thank you. I'm very glad that video helped. If you have never checked out the brand new vocoder for Studio One 6 before, check out my video. It's in the Studio One 6 playlist right here on this channel. Go check it out, and I show you how to get it working, or at least some very bare bones basic way to get it working. There are so many incredibly creative things you can do with it. Gregor has a video where he did something incredibly creative with a drum loop through a vocoder, which sounds absolutely amazing. I've not done it with that before, but certainly I used it in a more traditional kind of with a voice kind of method. But very well worth checking that video out, and please hit the thumbs up on that video. And speaking of thumbs up, please do go do that below. I would appreciate it a lot if you have enjoyed tonight's show and you find this content helpful. Hit that like button. If you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. We are fast approaching 5,000 subscribers. I would like to get to 5,000 subscribers before we hit April. We are at the beginning of March, so we've got a month to get to 5,000 subscribers. We only have about 80 or so subscribers to go, and I would like to get past 5,000 before we get to the beginning of April. And when we hit that 5,000, my fantastic partner in crime, Louis over at Alps Media, and I are going to do a giveaway. So it's on you guys. Help me get to 5,000 subscribers. Invite your friends. Invite your friends' tennis partners. Invite your friends' tennis partners' wives. Invite your friends' wives' tennis partners' kids. Their pet budgerigars, their pet tarantulas, their pet tortoises, whatever. Just get the people in here. And seriously, if you know people who you think what I do here on Sundays and Wednesdays and other videos that I put out over the course of this year, if you think what I do is going to help them, get them on board. Give them links. Send them links to the channel. Send them links to this show. Send them the links to any videos of mine that you think will help them, and get them subscribed and hitting that notification bell. That way nobody misses a thing that I'm going to put out, because I've got loads of stuff coming for the remainder of this year. All right, folks, we will wrap it up there. There is an after show Zoom, which I will tend for a very short period before my leg starts to make me want to scream. Ronald says some of the presets don't allow sidechaining. That is correct. Some of them don't. Oh, you mean for the vocoder? Well, you kind of need to sidechain in order for the vocoder to work. I don't think I have ever seen a preset that doesn't allow it, because I've got the song open here. We'll just quickly do this before we go anywhere. So we'll go and we'll open this, and I'll play this track.
This recorder, it's really very cool. It is the best thing Chrysalis has ever done. Floats my boat.
Oh shit.
I really, really love it. Cool doesn't cut it. It really is the best. Check this A flat 9 chord. Tune this G flat 7. B flat 7.
Yeah, that one doesn't really do what we want.
Oh, it is the best thing Chrysalis has ever done. It really floats my boat. I really, really love it. Cool doesn't cut it. It really is the best. Check this A flat 9 chord. Tune this G flat 7. B flat 7. B flat minor. This recorder, it's really very cool. It is the best thing Chrysalis has ever done.
Alright, so there you go. So I think pretty much most of them work. I think the only one that I've found that doesn't really work very well is the Christmas tree one. But everything else should work. Alright, we will call it there, folks. So we'll get back over to here. And yeah, I will see you all on Wednesday for Songwriting Simplified. Hopefully I will have a guest lined up for next Wednesday, because I think this kind of whole thing of doing a show with a guest really works. You guys seem to really enjoy the show that I did with Rich. So I will be trying to get hold of a new guest for Wednesday. So stay tuned. stay subscribed, hit that notification bell, and we'll see you back here 6 p.m. Central Time on Wednesday for Songwriting Simplified. Good night, everybody. Good night.